This is Sohei Kamiya, the unlikely firebrand shaking Japan's political establishment to its core. His party, Sanseito, born in the shadows of the global COVID lockdowns and mass censorship, has become a righteous lightning rod of fury, renewal of pride, and of fierce nationalism. But many in the West have little to no clue of what is driving their national crusade for renewal. And a very good question is, why does the Western establishment recoil in horror, malice, and contempt? Sanseito, the political participation party, it erupted in 2020 during the COVID-19 lockdowns and the extreme censorship associated with that from the digital underbelly of YouTube and other social media platforms. Kamiya, for his part, was a former supermarket manager and is now turned populist prophet, channeling the rage of many young men who are being crushed by Japan's economic stagnation. In 2022, Sanseito was able to claw a single seat in the House of Councillors, and yesterday, and that would be 2025, yesterday, they shocked the world by seizing 14 seats in the 248-seat chamber, riding a tidal wave of voter despair as inflation, like in many parts of the world, is soaring and the yen is crumbling. Sanseito's gospel is a battle cry, Japan first, as they vow to slam the gates on mass Western-style transformative immigration, as well as ban foreigners from owning land in the country, as well as resurrecting traditional family values. They scorn same-sex marriage as well as the entire LGBTQ+ agenda, branding them as assaults on Japan's sacred heritage. Former leader Manabu Matsuda called COVID vaccines a globalist murder weapon, while Kamiya, he's a very, very, very vocal critic of what he calls the deep state pulling the strings of Japan from foreign capitals. And of course, the party has not only borrowed from Trump's playbook when it comes to the Japan First slogan, but Kamiya himself, he wields raw emotion, painting Japan as a victim of foreign betrayal. Sanseito is thriving because of the mood of the nation. Japan's Liberal Democratic Party, a party that has run the country almost uninterrupted since the end of the Second World War, is riddled with scandal and has left many voters seething in what is usually a pretty apolitical country. And now with prices climbing because of inflation and wages frozen, Kamiya is now blaming what he sees as the massive influx of migrants into his country for the rising crime as well as what he calls cultural decay. Don't destroy Japan any further, he thunders, rallying a generation of disillusioned youth who see no future for themselves or for their country. And these are the forgotten, the young men that have been crushed by a stagnant economy and have been just as betrayed by their corrupt elite as the young men and the populations in the West. And the West, for its part, is watching on in impotent rage, bile, and scorn, as it is horrified by Sanseito's message of protecting Japan and not wanting to replace their population via mass, unrelenting, and unending migration from culturally very dissimilar places, as is now the norm in all Western nations. Kamiya's Jewish capital tirade in 2022, it sparked a firestorm. Not in Japan, of course, but in Western media, as they branded him anti-Semitic, despite him clarifying that it was not focused on all Jews, but on what he calls global finance. His party's push to cap the number of foreign residents and limit their access to welfare, land ownership, as well as prioritizing Japanese citizens under their Japan First platform, has, of course, from the usual NGO and Western media outlets, drawn fierce condemnation. 8 human rights groups, including Solidarity Network for Migrants in Japan, decried Sanseito's rhetoric as, quote, hate speech, closed quote. To Western media, Sanseito is an echo of the anti-globalism and anti-mass migration that is bubbling within their own nations, and the awakening of a nation once thought to be mostly non-political in nature terrifies them. The party's success, in fact, is echoing nationalist surges from Europe to America. Given the mood in the country at present, Sanseito, it should be noted, is no mere fringe party anymore. It's an awakening volcano, a Mount Fuji if you like, fueled by economic despair and cultural fear, especially for those that have seen the destruction being wrought upon Western nations who have fully embraced the suicidal death spiral of globalism, as well as mass unrelenting demographic and culturally transformative migration. And given the particular set of circumstances in Japan, the party could, if things do not change, the party could reshape the entire future of the country. Kamiya's vision of a strong, sovereign Japan free from the tentacles of foreign chains, well, it's captivating a new and angry generation of Japanese. And the West's hysterical alarm over their electoral success, well, it only highlights for many Japanese the chains that the country has been living under since the end of the Second World War. What's clear is that the elite experiment at tearing apart the developed nations of the world and replacing them with unstable hybrid societies is not going well anywhere it's being tried. Sanseito, obviously, looking at the economic, social, and in particular the cultural decay in its peer nations, wants to stop the rot before it takes hold, as it has done so with such striking devastation in Western nations. This is the new dawn of Japanese nationalism. Sanseito's rise is a warning. In a fractured world run by elites that are totally divorced from those that they mean to rule, righteous indignation finds a voice, and Japan is listening. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you have any comments, criticisms, or suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.